Hello everyone, welcome back to another exciting tutorial. I'm Zoe. In this tutorial, we're diving into how to build a complete e-commerce website using React and Tailwind. You will learn everything from setting up a search bar to displaying products, viewing product details, adding items to cart, and many more. Here's what we'll be building. First, we'll kick things off with a sleek navigation bar that has a modern layout with the company logo at the left, a functional search bar at the center, and the cart and account icon at the right. Then we'll create a stunning hero section with a crisp linear gradient background, a bold text at the center, a stylish button, and also an eye-catching image of a shoe at the center stage as well. Next is the product list section. Here we'll learn to build and showcase all the products, which is the shoes, in this collection. So we're going to display for each product, in each product card, we're going to display the image of the product, the name of the product, and the prices as well. And guess what? When you hover on any product image, you're going to see the cart and the view product detail icon, which is this eye icon here. And when you click on this cart icon, the product is instantly added to the cart. So I'm going to click on this. It's going to be added instantly to the cart. And in the navigation bar, it's showing us in real time that we have added an item to our cart. So I'm going to add more items to the cart. If I click on this icon here, it's going to reflect here that we have 2 items in our cart. If I click on another item, it's reflecting here that we have 3 items. So I'm going to add as many as possible to the cart. So we have about 7 items in the cart. And when you click on the view product details icon, which is this eye icon, you'll be taken to the product detail page itself, where you can view the entire information about that product that you have clicked on. We have the image on the left and we have other details here on the right. And also you'll be able to add the products that you are viewing on the product details to the cart page if you click on this button here. So I'm clicking on this button and it's reflecting here in the navigation bar that we have added a product to our cart. Now when you click on the cart icon in the navigation, you're going to land on the cart page where the magic continues. So on the page you'll be able to increase. Here we have 2 products already. This particular product, we have the quantity is 2 because we added it in the product details page and also the product list section. So on the cart page, you can increase and decrease the quantity of a particular item. So I can increase this, I can decrease it as well. And the total price, as I'm increasing and decreasing, the total price will be updated instantly for each of the products. So if I increase this as well, the total price here is increasing. We have the actual price is $130. I'll have 3 items, so the total is $390. Okay, so we have several items here that we have added in our cart. Also, we have the cart summary, where you're going to get a sneak peek of your entire cart, number of items you have in your cart. This is it here, 10. The subtotal here is $1,300, and the shipping is free, and the total cost is $1,300. We have the checkout button here as well. Also, on the cart page, you can decide to remove a specific item, a specific product from the cart. So if I click on this, that item has been removed from the cart. If I click on this remove here, this item will also be removed, and the new price will be reflecting instantly to be updating as we're removing it. Okay, so if I increase, the price here is increasing. The items is also reflecting that we've added a new item to the cart. So here we have 1 item, we have 2 items, 1, 1, 1. This is 6 items. So right here we have 6 items, and also in the cart summary we have 6 items. So this is working in real time. Another thing you can do on this cart is to delete the entire cart. So if you click on this icon, the entire cart will be empty. So here it's showing that the cart is empty. So we're back, and on the navigation bar as well, you can see that it has changed. The number here has changed to 0. Okay, so if I head back to the home page, let's say I add this item to cart, it's showing here that we have an item to cart. If I head back again, if I click on this icon, we have 2 items in the cart. Okay, where we can increase and decrease and all of that. Okay, so we're going to learn to do all of this as well. And to wrap things up, we'll build a simple yet classy footer. So this is our footer. This is very simple. This is a very simple footer. So if you're ready to take your React and Tailwind to the next level, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and watch this tutorial to the end. This tutorial is going to skyrocket your learning in React and Tailwind. You're going to learn to build a lot of things fast, and for each step that I'll be taking, I'm going to be explaining every single line of code in this tutorial. So do not forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a comment on what you want me to build next, and also give this tutorial a thumbs up if you like what you have learned so far. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to do is to open any code editor of your choice. I'll be using VS Code. Then you navigate to your terminal, click on new terminal. Once your terminal is open, you're going to change directory to your desktop. And I have a folder where I create all my YouTube projects. So I'm going to change my directory to that folder. So here, YouTube projects, and I'm going to create my React app inside this folder. So you're going to run this command, npm vits at latest. It's a shoe e-commerce, and we're styling with Tailwind. So I'm just going to, this is the name, hyphen templates React. Once you run this command, click enter, but make sure you're connected to the internet. Then you're going to change the directory to the app you just created, shoe e-commerce Tailwind. Then you're going to run npm install to install all React packages. So now that we've successfully installed all the packages, you're going to type in code, or let's just navigate to file, click on open folder, then click on your desktop. The folder where I created it is YouTube project. So I'll open the folder, and this is the React app. I'm going to select this folder as well and open it in VS Code. So now this is our folder here. We have our source, we have our node modules, public, and all of that. So open your index.css, change it to probably the name of the website. This is the e-commerce website. Okay, and then navigate back to your terminal, click on new terminal. So we're going to test if our app is working, npm run dev. So we have the link to check if our app is working. Click on the link. So this is our React app. It is working, the buttons are working, as you can see. So we'll head back here, and we're going to do some cleanups. First, I'm going to delete after CSS. I'm deleting this because I'm not going to need it. And then index the CSS, Control A, deleting all of that as well. App the GSX as well, Control A, delete it all, and then use REFC to create a React snippet. Click enter. To use this shortcut, right, you need to have this extension. You need to have EX7 React Redux React Native extension. So make you install that. Okay. So let me close this and then open my Explorer page. Now we're going to be styling with Tailwind. So we need to install Tailwind. So we'll head here. Tailwind. Open the official Tailwind page. Also, let's check the website again. Let's see. So we have icons here, right? That means we need to install React icon. We have icons here. We have icons here as well. We need to install React icon. And also on this website, we can navigate between pages. If we click on this icon here, we have the cart icon itself. We can navigate between pages, and this is done using the routing system. We set up a route for the navigation. So we need to install React Router as well. We also need to install React icon. So we just need to open React icon, the npm package, and then React Router DOM as well. Click enter. Now to our Tailwind, click on the documentation. Once you're on this official page, click on the documentation. Then get started with Tailwind. You want to install Tailwind. So here we're using Vite. Okay. There are other frameworks that you can use Tailwind with. So this is everything. We have Next.js, Laravel, Nuxt, Angular, Svelte, Solid, Ruby on Rails, React Router, Phoenix, Symfony, Parcel, and all of that, but we're using Vite. So we're just going to follow each of these steps. First, we're going to copy the very first one for the installation. So after copying this, head back to your terminal. So I'm just going to open a new terminal since this terminal is already working. Then I'm going to paste this here, click enter. Also, you need to have this extension to use Tailwind. You need to have the Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. You need to have this extension. So do well to install this extension. Click on the extension button, install Tailwind CSS IntelliSense. Okay, so I'm going to close this as well. So this is installing our Tailwind. Okay, so it has installed successfully. Then the next step is to configure the Vite plugin. So in the vite.config, we're going to copy all of this. So we'll open our Vite. So Ctrl A and then click on. So I pasted what I just copied now. And the next step in our CSS, that is our global CSS. We're going to copy this as well and paste it there. So our global CSS for this is index.css, right? So I'm just going to paste this right here. Okay. So back here, we're just going to copy this H1. It has the Tailwind CSS in it, right? This is it. And then we'll open our app.jsx and we're just going to paste this here to see if the styling is going to work. So instead of hello world, I'm just going to change this to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Now let's see if this is working. So if you view this on our browser, you can see that this styling is working. We have the underlying text here. So we've been able to set up our Tailwind. Now the next thing we need to do is to install React icon. Once you're on this page, click on this installation text. Then you went back to your terminal and you're going to paste where you just copied on your terminal right here. Then click enter for it to install. So React icon has been installed. Next, we need to install React Router DOM. So once you're here, click on the installation text. Then you head back here and paste it on your terminal as well. Click enter. Make sure you're connected to the internet too. So we're going to close all of this. Okay. So while React Router DOM is installing, we need to start creating our component pages and context. So on our SRC folder, I'm going to create a folder for components. And also I'm going to create another folder for pages. I'll create another folder for context. So we have all of this. For our pages, we're going to have our own page. Then we're also going to have the product details page. For context, we're going to have our shop context page. So for each of them, I'm just going to use REFC to create React snippets. Product details as well, REFC. Then for the components, we're going to have our navbar components, navbar.jsx, REFC. We're going to have the hero components. Let me close each of them. We're going to have the products components. And we're going to have the footer component. So here, footer.gsx, REFC as well. So I'm going to close all of this. Then I'm just going to collapse this a bit. Also in our pages, we need the carts folder. So in our cart folder, we're going to have our carts.gsx, REFC. And also we need our cart details in the cart. So here, cart details.gsx. Now that we've set up all our routing, all our components and pages, we need to start coding fully. So first, we need to start with our navigation bar. So let's start. So for our navbar, we're going to create a div tag for navbar. So here div, and the first thing I'm going to give this a class name of logo, class name of navbar. We're still going to style it further. So that's our navbar wrapper. We're going to have another div. This is where our logo is going to be. We're going to have our h2 tag. So logo will be here. After this div, we're going to have another div for our search. So I'm going to be typing in search. Because we have installed React icon, React is going to suggest icons that matches with this name. So as you can see, it has suggested it. So we're using the first one. So search. Then we're going to use the inputs field, and the type is text. So just select text. So the placeholder is going to be search for products. Let me close this. Okay. And then we'll create another div. So for this other div, we need the cats icon. So here I'm going to type in cats, and I'm going to select this cat icon. Now we need a span tag, and that's going to take that's what is going to be updating the number of items we have in our cart. So I'm just going to enter 0 for now. Then we're going to have the account icon. So here, user. So I'm going to choose this icon. I'm going to close it. So this is our navigation bar right here. We're going to style it later. So we open our app.jsx. I'm going to delete the h1 tag. To subscribe to my channel, don't forget to do that. And I'm going to mount the navbar components in the app.jsx. So right here, this is it here. So if you open this is what we have. We have the search inputs, the icons, the text, and all of that. So I'm just going to close all of these as well. You don't need to open too many tabs. Now let's style this. So open back our nav.jsx. Here, display would be flex. I want to justify between items be at the center. PX will be 14. PY will be 6. The width will be full. Z index will take 50. And transition will be on all. Duration will take 500. And our background is going to be gradients. 2 R from this color code. This color code. To this color code. Okay. So that is for the entire container. Now for the H2 text, let's style this as well. Text will be 2 times larger. The font will be semi-bold. And the text color is going to be white. Now for the icon, the search icon, class name, okay, it's going to be relative. Search. The space is going to be flex. I want the item at the center. Okay, so this is supposed to, this styling is going to be for the container. Okay, now for the icon itself, let's style it. It's going to be absolute. Left will be 4, top, and then transform. So here translates on y-axis. Text will be small text, and the color is going to be gray. Now for the input fields, let me just enter the class name here. Oh, class name. Padding left will be 12. Padding right will be 10. Padding on y-axis will be 3. The width should take about 130. And we want the corners to be rounded. So here, rounded full. The border will be 2. And the border color will be white. Focus. So we focus on the outline. That means when we click on it, so here, none, we're setting it to none. Now for this icon wrapper, we're going to style this. So here, class name, display will be flex. I want all the items at the center. So items, center, space. Okay. Now for the cart, the position here will be relative. And for the span tag as well, before the span tag, we need to set the size of the icon. So it should be 3 times larger than regular. And the color of the icon will be white. So for the span tag, class name, position will be absolute. Negative top will be 2. Negative right will be 2 as well. The background is going to be red. And the text color is going to be white. The text size, the height, the width, the display will be flex. I want the items to be at the center. Justify content at the center as well. And the should be rounded full. Okay. Now for this account icon, text will be 3 times larger as well. And the text color is going to be white. So let's view what we have now. Okay, so this is what we have. We have the linear gradient background. We have our logo here. We have our search input right here. We have the cart icon and the account icon. So after setting up the number, the next step is to build our hero section. But let me show you something back here in our page. Our hero section is in the home page. Our hero section is mounted in the home page. The product section is on the home page. So let's say I click on the cards page, you're not going to see the hero section here, right? If I click on product details, you're not going to see the hero section. So the hero section and the product lists is on the home page. So before creating the hero section now, we first need to set up a routing system for our application. So we'll begin by wrapping up our entire app in a browser router. So let me show you how that's done. So right here, I'm going to close my navbar. Then we'll open our main.jsx. Let me close all of these components and pages. So open our main.jsx, right? So the next thing we're going to do is to wrap our entire application. We're going to wrap the entire application in a browser router inside this main.jsx. This ensures that our app is ready for navigation between pages. Okay, so here, first I need to import browser router from React Router DOM. Remember that we have installed React Router DOM earlier. So I'm going to delete this strict mode as well. Then I'm going to just comment this out. So now we have our app. I just cut it, Ctrl X. Now we're going to wrap the browser router. Okay, and here we're going to place our app components right here. Okay, so we've wrapped our application, we've wrapped the browser router around our application. And then the next thing we're going to do is in our app.jsx, we need to define routes. So we'll start by creating the route for the home page. Then we'll create route for product details and the cart page. So right here, we're on the app.jsx. So here, we're going to import routes and routes. Routes with an S and routes without an S. We're going to import it. Now, we'll use routes, the one with an S. Then in between, that's where we're going to be creating the route for the home page and product details. So the first route we're going to create is for our home page. So route here. Then we're going to set the path / is for the home page. And we'll pass in the elements that we want to render, which is going to be for the component. Open your curly braces. So in between this, you're going to mount the page or component or whatever. So here we'll have our home page. I'm going to close this and then close this as well. We need to import it as well. Import home page from here in our pages. We've created home page. Okay, as you can see, we've created home page. So we're going to import it from pages.pages/home page. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is to create the routes for product details, which we will dynamically render each product using the ID for identification. So here, routes, the paths will be a bit different. So here, /product/:ID for each product. We're using ID to access each product. So here, element, open our curly braces. We're going to have our product details page here. So here, product details. Close this and still close this as well. Then we're going to import product details from /pages/product details. Okay, we have our product details right here in our pages. So let me close this main.jsx. Also, we're going to create the route for our carts page. So here, route as well, and the paths /carts elements. Open your curly braces, and we're going to render our carts page right here. And also here, we're going to import carts from our pages folder /carts/carts. Okay, now this is carts, not the bar. Okay, so this is our carts here. Okay, so now that we're done setting up our routes, we can now create our hero section in the home page. So here, click on the hero that we've created earlier. We need an image for this hero section, right? Because right here, we have an image here, very nice image. We need the same image, and also we need every other image that we're going to be using here. And also for each of these products, right, we need the details, the image, the name of the. So we need to get all the images, and we also need to create an array of objects that is going to represent all of these products. Okay, so for each object, we're going to have the details. Okay, we're going to have the image, the name of the product, and the price and other information about the product. So before we continue with the hero section, in our SRC, I'm going to create another file and I'm going to name it data.gsx. So here, this is where we're going to have the array of objects. Okay, so I've created the array of objects. Okay, so this is it, products data. Okay, so this is an object here. We'll have the ID of a particular product. We'll have the image of that product. We have the title of the product. We have the price of the product. We have the category, and we have the description as well. This is another product here. Oh, Control Z, sorry. We have another product. This is the ID, the image, the title, the price, category, and description. Okay, so this is another product here with the product details, and we have up to 12 products. So I'm going to share the link to my GitHub so that you can have access to all of this. And I've also imported all the images here in data.gsx so that we can have access to the image here. Next thing we need to do is to get all the images. The link for that will also be in the description box. So this is all the images that we're going to use. So I'm just going to copy everything and I'm going to paste it in my asset folder. So let me close this. So I've successfully copied everything. Now let's continue with our hero. So here on our hero section, let's go. So I'll create a div tag. Then I'm going to create another div tag for our title, the text. So I'll create another div tag. Then I'm going to create an h1 tag. And this is going to take this text. After that, we're going to create a p tag that's also going to take this text. Okay. Then I'm going to create a div tag. Where we're going to have our button. And the button on the text to be view collection. After that, we're going to have our image tag. Okay. I have imported all the images that we're going to use. So we're using this image right here. So I'm going to import the image. So I'm just going to give you import hero image from asset folder / the name of the image is Nike hero.png. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Then for the source, replace it with curly braces and paste the name of the image here. Okay. Now for our hero section, I'm going to mount it in the home page. Okay, right here, we're going to have hero. Okay, so if we read this now in our browser, this is what we have. So let's go back here. Okay, so here, styling, display will be grid, the width, full, place items at the center. The background will be the same gradient color with our navbar. So I'm just going to come here, copy it, and then paste it. So I'll come here, copy, paste. Okay. Here as well, class name, text, I want all the text at the center. Now for the h1 tag, the text size should be 5 times larger. The font will be bold. Margin top will be 20. And the text color will be white. For the p tag, the text size LG, margin top will be 3. Now for the button container, justify the content, center, and a margin top of 4. And for the button, adding 10 py will be 4, and the background color will be white. Text color will be blue. The font will be semi-bold. Rounded full. And when you hover on it, you want to change the background color to a sky blue. Okay. And for the image, the width, we take this value 790 pixels. 790 pixels. The height would also take this value 400 pixels, and we'll have a margin top of 10. Now, if we view this on our browser, this is what we have. This is looking sharp and looking good. So the next thing we need to work on is the product list section. Okay. So we're going to learn how to showcase products. We're going to learn how to be product card. These are cards. These are cards. We're going to learn how to showcase all the products that we have in our collection in the home page. So now let's create our products section. So open products. Then we'll start by creating this. But before creating the products, we need to create our shop context. As we know, or if you don't know, shop context is basically a context provider that holds and share related items like products, cart items across different components on the application. So in the shop context, we're going to have few logics there so that our products can be accessed in other components. So right here, open shop context, and then let's get to work. So shop context is like a central place that we're going to use to manage and store states and data, like product data. Like, so any component that is wrapped around shop components can access and modify the data without having to pass it down as props every time. So let us start. Before anything here, we head back to our main.gsx. We need to wrap our entire application. We need to wrap shop context around our entire application. So before that as well, sorry, let's add some text in here. So I'm going to start by importing React. Then we're going to need create context. And also we need use states because we're going to manage states here. And also use effects from React. Okay. And then we're going to create our context. So here I'll use export so that we can access the shop context in any application. Export shop context equals create context. And then the very next thing is to import the data, the product data that we're going to need. Import product data from our data.gsx. Okay. After this, we're going to define our context provider function, and we're going to name it shop context provider, and we'll wrap the entire application that needs to access the shop states around it. I'm also going to export the context provider. So let me just do that now. Const shop context provider will be equal to, we're creating a function here. Open our curly braces. So within the shop context provider that we've defined, we're going to return the shop context dot provider. So here, return shop context dot provider. So here, shop context dot provider. And in between this, we're going to pass the children. And here as well, we're going to have the children as props. Okay. And finally, we're going to export the shop context provider that was defined, shop context provider, so that other components can have access to it. So when we're returning the shop context to provider, we're going to be passing in the values that we want other components pages to have access to. We're going to have that here very soon once we have defined that. So let us start. So now we're starting with our products, right? We're going to create a state variable that is going to manage all the products and a setter function to always update the product state. So here, const products and a setter function set products, and the use state by default we're setting the products to product data. Okay, so we're going to add default to this. Okay, export default shop context provider. So here we've created a state variable to manage our products and also a setter function to update our product. So if you're wondering where we're getting this product data from, we're getting it from here. This product data right here. The link to the GitHub is going to be in the description box, so do well to check that. So here, this is it, still the same thing. Product data, we're getting it from our data.csx. Okay. Now that we've created the state variable to manage this, we want other components to have access to it. So right here, I'm going to pass in this as a value. So here, value, we're going to have products. Okay. Now in our main.jsx, I said earlier that we're going to wrap the shop context around our entire application. So here, I'm just going to cut it Ctrl X. Then here, shop context provider. Okay. Now we're going to paste Ctrl V what we just cut earlier. Okay, so let me just format this document here so that it's going to look good. Okay. So we'll wrap our application around shop context provider so that the application can have access to the context that was created here. So now we have our products here. Now let's head back to our products page and do. Okay, so for our products, let me remove this. Okay, so that's our React fragments right there. I'll create a div tag. In between that div tag, we're going to have an h1 tag. Oh, come on, h1. And it's going to take this text, our collection. Okay, so this is like the header. Then I'm going to create another div tag. And here, for this div tag, we're going to map over the products, the states that we've managed here. Okay, so head back to products. First off, we need to get the product from our shop context. We need to destructure it from our shop context. So here, const products be equals to use context. And it's going to be shop contexts. Okay, so now we're going to map over these products here. So right here, open your curly braces. So products dot map products okay, create our arrow function. Now we need to structure what we need in the product. So this is, let me show you. This is an object, right? We need the ID, we need the image, we need the title, and we need the price for now. So here in our products, we're going to destructure all of that. So const ID, comma, image, comma, title, and comma, price. These are the things that we need. So it's going to be equal to the products. Okay. And here we're going to return, open your brackets, create another div tag, close the div tag. In between the div tag, first we need to pass the key, and it's going to be the ID. So for each we want to create a card now, a product card. Since we have mapped over the products data array, so now we want to create a card, and we want to display each card by their ID. Okay, so here, this is it. Next thing we're going to do is to create another div. So here, another div tag for each card. And in this card, we're going to have our image first. So for the image, the source is going to be the image here, the image that we're getting from this product. Okay, so we have the image, and then we're going to have another div tag, and it's going to be two buttons. So the first button will be for the add to cart icon. So cart add icon. I'll close this. So I'm going to separate this button now. Okay, this is the first button, and the second button will be for the product detail icon. So here I'm just going to use an eye icon. Okay, I'm going to use this other icon for eye icon. Okay, and make sure that the icon is being updated here as well, like it's being imported here. Okay, so this is for our buttons, which is this as well, these two that we're seeing here, cut and hide. Okay, so I'm going to copy this div. I'm just going to cut it, Ctrl X, and I'm going to paste it after. It's going to be, the button is going to be immediately after the image, because we want it to be on the image. When we style it, we're going to see. Let me format the document. Okay, so we have in this div container, we'll have the image, and we have another div for the two buttons. So after this div container, we're going to have another div, and here we're going to have our h3 tag for the title, which is also the name of the product. After the h3 tag, we're going to have the p tag for the price. So we're using $sign, right? And here we're going to pass in the price. Okay, so this is for the product right here. We'll map it over the array of objects. We'll the structure, the ID, the image, and we'll added it to the product. We've created a div tag. We have all of this here. We have the image, the two icons, the name, and the price. So we'll go back to our own page, and we're going to mount the products, this product list right here in the home page. So if we view it on our browser now, this is what we have. You can see we have the header, our collection, we have the image of the product, we have these two icons here, the name of the product, the price. So this is it for all the products. Okay, so the next step is to style so that it can look exactly like this. Okay, now let's now open the product again. Okay, so for this header, we set the margin top to 10. Oh, sorry. Class name, margin top will be 10. Now for the H1 tag, text will be at the center, and the text size will be 4XL. The font width will be bold. Okay, now for this product list container, the display will be grid, and for each grid column, we want to have 4 items. So here goes 4. The gap between each of them will set to 5. Padding will be 12. Now for this div tag as well, for each individual card, position will be relative, overflow will be hidden, and the border, we're going to have the border around it. We're also going to set the color. So border will be gray. Let me collapse this so that we can have a larger screen. Okay, and then the padding, we'll set this to 4. We want all the text at the center, and the transition, shadow So when you hover on it, the shadow will be large. Okay. And then for this div, position here will be relative. For the image, we're going to set the width to full. The height will take 64. Transform on a scale of 90. And transition will be on the transform. Duration will be 300. And when you hover on it, the scale will be 100. Okay. Now for the buttons, which is for the icon, class name. Okay, position of this will be absolute. Top, we'll take half. Left, we'll take half as well. Display will be flex. So translate, negative translates on the x-axis will be half. Negative translate on the y-axis will be 1/2 as well. And the gap between the two icons is going to be 3. Opacity will be 0 because we don't want it to show initially, only when the user hovers on it. So here transition will be on our opacity, and the duration will be 300. Now when the user hover, so here what our hover effect, opacity will be 100. Okay. Now for each button, for this cart button, we're going to style this as well. Class name. The background is going to be red. Text will be white. Rounded full. Transition on the colors. Duration, we're going to set that to 300. So when you hover on it, we want a deeper background color, so 600. Display will be flex, and the items will be at the center, which is the icon itself. So justify content too will be center as well. Okay. So since we're using the same, I'm going to copy this. We're using the same styling for both buttons. So I'm going to paste it here. Let me see what is the issue. Okay, doesn't have a closing quote. Okay, now for each of the icon, we're going to style that to get the size. So text will be 2XL for both. So I'm just going to copy this also, and I'll paste this here. So for this cat icon and the eye icon. Okay, now for the title and price, class name, we're going to set margin top for the title, which is the name of the product. Text will be large, and the font will be bold. For the price, the text color will be red, and the text will be 2XL. Okay, now if we view this on our browser, this is what we have. Okay, and it looks exactly like this. Okay, when you hover on this, you can see the two icons. Okay, all right. Next thing we're going to do now is to learn how to add items to cart. So we have we're showcasing all of these products here. We want to be able to add the items of our choice to our cart. We have to create the cart page though, right? So first we need to write the logic that is going to undo adding items to cart, removing items from cart, increasing and decreasing items in the cart, those kind of logic, all the functions. We're going to learn to do that now. Okay, and we need to also ensure that when we click on this cart icon here, we add our item. These products will be added to the cart and it will also reflect in our navigation bar. Then next thing we're now going to do is to work on this search bar integration. So we're coming to that later. So for the search, when you click on this here, okay, we're missing something. We did not add background to this. Okay, so let's go and work on that. Remember that when you click on this search, right, you're going to be able to search for any item of your choice. Let me say tennis. Product that matches with the title will be displayed. Tennis. So this product has tennis here. This also has tennis here. We're going to get to that now. So I'm going to close this product here, close the data here. So for the nav bar, the search inputs, I did not add background to it. So come. Okay, let me add it. VG white. Okay, so our background color is white. Now let's continue with adding to cart logic. So I'm going to close this navbar.css. So for all the entire logic for adding to carts, deleting from carts, we're going to be writing all the code in our shop context. Remember that I said that shop context is a central place to manage and store data so that other components, other pages can have access to it without having to pass it down as props. So we're going to be writing all of the logic here so that other components can have access to it. When I was showing us the introduction here, I said that if you click on a product here, you can add to carts, right? So we need to ensure that other components, other pages like product details page can have access to our carts functionality. So let's get to it. So right now we're going to start by creating our cart state. So here we'll create a state variable for the carts and a setup function to set carts. Our use states, so here use states will be an empty array. So the next thing we're going to do again is to create the state variable for our quantity of item in our cart, and also a setup function to update the quantity of item in the cart if there's change. So const quantity set quantity, and it will be equals to use states. By default is going to be 0. Also, we're going to create a state variable for the total price and the setup function to update the total price. So const total, comma, set total, oh, comma, not here, okay. Set total equals use states. By default, our total will be 0. And now, the next thing we're going to do is to write the function to add the product to the cart. So here const, the name of the function is going to be add to carts. It's going to be an arrow function. So here I'm going to pass products and ID because we want to add each product by their ID. So this is the function. So now we're going to create a new item with an initial quantity of 1. So const new item will be equal to, well, this spread operator here. So amount here is going to be 1. And then we're going to find if the product is already in the cart. Const, we're going to create a variable that's going to hold that cart item will be equal to cart dot find item, and here we check if the item ID matches. So return item dot id id if it matches. So if the product is already in carts, I'm going to use an if statement here. If cart item exists, this code here is to check if an item is already in the cart. I want to check if the product is already in the cart. We're going to map over the cart to update the quantity of the existing item. So here, I'm going to create a new variable that's going to hold that cost new carts will be equal to, we'll use the spread operator, carts dot map item, create an arrow function. Then we'll check if the current item's ID matches the product ID, then we're increasing the quantity. So here, if item.id equals the ID, then we want to return item and the amount. So for the existing item, we're going to increase the amount by 1. Okay. And we use an else statement. So if otherwise, we want to return the item as it is. So here, return item. Okay. Now we need to update the cart states with the updated quantities. So here, set cart, which is a setup function to update our cart with the new carts. And if otherwise, for our else statement, which means that if the product is not in the cart, we need to add it to the cart. So here, set carts, we're going to add it, the new item, to our carts. Okay. So we've created the function. I will close this. I'm going to close this as well. So right here, we've created the function to add item to our cart. Okay. So the first thing that we did, let me explain again. We created a function and we named it add to carts. Sorry. I named it add to carts. We created a new item with the initial quantity of 1. Then right here, we are finding out if the product is already in the cart. We're checking if the ID matches. So here, if it does, if it matches, then we're mapping over the cart to update the quantity. And we're also checking here, using this other if, to check if the current item ID matches with the product ID. If it does, we're increasing the quantity, and if otherwise, we're returning the item as it is. And right here, we're updating the cart states with the updated quantity. And for this final else statement, if otherwise, if this entire if statement turns out otherwise, that is, if the product is not in the cart, we're adding the product to the cart with this code. So right here in the value, we're going to add the add to cart function so that other components can have access to it. So the next thing we're going to do now is to calculate the total price of the items in the carts whenever the cart changes. So we're going to calculate the total price of items in the carts whenever it changes. So the entire price of the item in our carts, that is what we're going to learn to calculate now. So right here, I'm going to press enter. So I'm going to be using the use effects. I'll create an arrow function. So first, we'll use reduce to calculate the total price. So const total will be equal to carts.reduce. We'll use an accumulator. Then here, current item. Okay. Now we need to convert price to a number. So here, I'll create a variable that's going to hold that. So here, price as number. will be equals to pass floats. We're converting to a floating point number. Current item dot price. So we're converting the price of the current item to a number. And now the next thing we're going to do is to check if the price as a number is not returning as a number. Don't want to skip the invalid prices. So if is not a number, price as a number, we're going to return accumulator. And then next thing we're going to do is to add price times quantity to the accumulator. So here, that means if the price returns as a number, we want to add price times quantity to the accumulator. So here, return accumulator plus price as a number multiplied by the current item price. That's amount. Okay. Then we're going to initialize accumulator value with 0. So right here, I'm going to add a comma. I'll add 0. Okay. So since we're calculating the total price, after we've considered all of this, we're going to use our set total to update the new total. So here, set total with the new total price. And we're going to pass cat as a dependency array to ensure that this effect runs whenever the cat changes. So here, we're adding cat as our dependency array. So this code here is to calculate the total price of items in the cart whenever the cart changes. So the next thing we're going to calculate now is to calculate the total number of items in the cart whenever the cart changes. That is the quantity of items we have in our cart whenever it changes. So use the effect as well. Create an arrow function. Okay, so first we're going to check if the cart is not empty. So if cart would use the reduce to sum of the quantity of all items. So I'm going to create a variable that is going to take that cost amount equals cart dot reduce, open our brackets, accumulator, and the current item as well. Create an arrow function. Okay, and we're going to initialize the accumulator with the value of 0 as well. So here, initialize it with 0, and then right here we'll return accumulator. We're adding the current items amount to the accumulator, so we're going to return accumulator plus current item amount. That's current item dot amount. Then we're going to update the item amount, that is the quantity of the item. So here we're going to set quantity with the amount. Then we're going to add carts as dependency area as well to ensure that the effect runs whenever the cart changes. Okay, so here is the code to calculate the total number of items in the cart whenever the cart changes. That's the quantity of items that we have in the cart whenever it changes. So the next thing we're going to do now is to create a function to remove the product from the cart. So I'm going to create an arrow function here, and I'm going to name it remove from cart. So we're going to remove items from carts using the ID. So here we're going to pass ID. Then I've created the arrow function. So the first thing we're going to do now is to filter out the product with a specific ID that we want to remove. So const, I'll create a new variable for that. So I'll give it new cart should be equals to cart.filter item, create another arrow function here. Then we'll keep only items whose ID doesn't match. So here, return item dot ID is not equal to, that doesn't match with that ID. Okay, so here we're only keeping the item whose ID does not match, and we're going to update the cart states. So right here, set carts will be our new carts. Okay, so for this particular code, what we did is to filter out the product with the specific ID, the product that we want to delete from our cart. Then once we have that product already, we only want to keep the product that does not match with that product ID. So this is to remove an item from cart. Now the next thing the next function is going to be the function to clear the entire item in the cart. So const, I'm just going to give a clear cart equal to create another function. Then right here, let me have space. So right here, we're going to set our cart to an empty array. Okay, so this is going to clear the entire cart for us. Now another thing we need to work on is the increment and decrement. We need to write the function to increase the quantity of a specific product in the cart. So I'm going to give this function increase amounts to be equal to, since we're dealing with a specific product, well, we need to get the ID of the product, right? So we'll pass in the ID. So the first step is to find the products in the cart by its ID. Const cart item will be equal to cart.find the item, and we're going to check if the item dot ID matches with the ID of the item that we want to increase the quantity. If it matches, we're going to call add to cart. That's the add to cart function that we created here to reuse the logic for increasing quantity. So here, add to cart item, comma ID. Okay, so this code here, the job of this code is to increase the quantity of item in the carts. Now finally, the last thing is to write a function to decrease the quantity of a specific item, a specific product in the cart. So I'm going to give a const decrease amounts to be equal to, we want to reduce the quantity, and we're going to be selecting the product using the ID. So we're passing ID here as well. So first we need to find the product in the cart. So here we're going to have const cart item will be equal to cart.find item. Then we're going to return, I'll create an arrow function here. We're going to return item.id that matches with the ID of the item we want to reduce. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we use an if statement to check if the product exists in the cart. So if cart item exists, then we're going to map over the cart to update the quantity of the product. So here, const new cart will be equal to cart.map item, create another function. So if the current item ID matches with the product ID, we're going to decrease the quantity. So here, if item.id equals to the ID of the item, we're going to return, open your curly braces, then we'll spread the item, we use the spread operator to spread the item, comma, the amount. So here, cart item dot amount, which is a quantity, minus 1. And if otherwise, so here we'll have an else statement. Else, return the item. So if otherwise, we're returning the item as it is. Okay. And we're going to update the cart state with the updated quantity. So here, set carts to the new carts. So if this does not go as planned, that is for this if statement, if the product does not exist in the carts, we're going to, so here I'm going to have an else statement, CLSE. Else, if the product quantity is less than 2, that means it does not exist in the cart. We want to remove it from the cart. So here we want to have if cart item that amount is less than 2, we use the remove from cart function ID. Okay. So we're done with all the necessary logic that we need for our carts. So now we're going to add all the function and states to the value so that other components can make use of it. We need the carts, we need the add to cart function. Okay, we've added that already. We need the remove from carts, we need the clear carts, we need the increase amounts, we need the decrease amounts. Okay, this is supposed to be NC. Okay, there's a typo error here. NC. Okay, so the increase, decrease amounts, we need the quantity, we need total, so we have all of this value here already. So now we can now work on our cart page. Okay, so now we're going to open our product page, right? So we need to look for the cart icon, and I get the cart icon. This is the cart icon here. Okay, so we're going to add an on-click property to ensure that when users click on the cart, the item will be added to the cart. So we need to destructure, or we can also call it extract our add to cart from shop context. Okay, so this is the cart. So here I'm going to add on click. We'll call the add to cart function. Add to cart, and we're adding the product, our passing product and ID. Okay, so this is the add to cart function. Remember that right here we're adding products based on ID to cart. So here as well we're adding products based on ID to carts. Okay, and then for the navigation bar as well, we'll come in here, open our navbar. We need to reflect the quantity on the cart icon. So right here, we're also going to destructure our quantity from shop context. So here, quantity will be equals to use context, and it's going to be shop context. Okay. Now this is our cart right here. Okay. We want to show the quantity of item that we have in the cart. Here I indicated it as 0, so I'm just going to replace it with quantity. Okay, so let's test if all of this is working. Let's test if the item is adding to cart and if the quantity is going to reflect in the navigation bar. So this is our page here. As you can right now, the quantity here is stating that we have 0 item in the cart. Let's say I click on this. Right here is showing that we have an item in the cart. If I click on this again, it's showing that we have 2 items in the cart. If I click on this, We have 3 items in the cart. We're here to create the cart page. So if we click on this, it's not leading us anywhere. Okay. So we're going to create our cart page now so that we can see it properly. So I'm going to close this, close our product as well. We'll still come back to our shop context. Close the home page. Now we need to work on the carts page. So I'm going to click on carts. So on our carts page, we need to destructure few things from our shop context. We need to destructure the cart state, the clear cart total, and the quantity. Okay. So const carts, clear carts, total, quantity. Use context, the shop context. Okay, let me close this. All right. Now for our return statement, that is our UI. Let's design it now. I'm going to create a div tag. In the div tag, we're going to have another div tag. Then outside this div tag, we're going to have another div tag for a cart summary. So this container here is for the cart contents, and this here is for the cart summary. We're going to get to that soon. So this is the second div tag. Right here, we're going to have an H1 text, and it's going to show shopping carts. Then we're going to have another H1 text for quantity. So I'm just going to have items. In here, I'm just going to take quantity. Okay, that will be structured from our shop context. Then we're going to have the trash icon, and this here we're going to add an on click so that when the user clicks on the trash icon, they can clear the entire cart. So I'm going to be using this trash icon here. So I'm going to add the on click property, clear carts. So once the user clicks on this clear trash icon, it's going to clear the entire cart. So this is the header. Then I'm going to have another div tag. So I'm going to have 4 span tags. The first one is going to take product description. The second one, let me split them up. The second one is going to take quantity of the product. The third is going to take price, and the last one is going to take total. So this is going to be the total price. This is going to be the actual price. Okay, so that's for the top. Then I'm going to create another div tag that is going to have our cart item. That is the cart details. Okay, so for the cart details, we're going to map over our carts, but we're here to create the cart details, right? So here I'm just going to check. So first we need to check the length of the cart. If we have items in the cart, then we're going to display the cart details. If we have no item in the cart, we're going to display that the cart is empty. So here cart dot length is greater than 0. We're using a ternary operator, so we'll have this bracket. If it is not, we're going to have this bracket as well. So let's sort the first one. If it is, we're mapping over the cart item to display the cart details. Okay. Then here, we're still going to work on the cart details page. Okay. So I'm going to close this now. So this is our cart details page right here. Okay, REFC. Let me just have the snippet already. So I'm going to close this. Okay, so if we have anything in our cart, if we have item in our cart, we want to display the cart details. We're mapping over the item and the cart to display our cart details. And if we have no item in the cart, we're going to display, we're using a p tag, and it's going to say that your cart is currently empty, or your cart is empty, whichever one you like. Okay. So, and for our cart details here, we're going to pass item as props, and the key as well for each individual cart details, item.id. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to work on is the cart summary, which is this part here, our cart summary. So we're going to have an H2 tag that will say cart summary. After the H2 tag, we're going to have a div tag. Within the div tag, we're going to have two span tags. The first one is going to be items, and the second one is going to be the quantity of items. So here, I'm just going to pass in the quantity value. Then, after this div tag, we're going to have another div tag. So after this div tag, we're going to have three div tags within this. So three. The first one is going to be for the subtotal. So we'll have two span tags. The first will be for the subtotal. So right here, it's going to be in dollars. But we still need to check if it is not a number. If it is not a number, that is the total, is greater than 0. We want to display total. And the second div tag will be for the shipping fee. So I'll have two span tags as well. So here we're going to have shipping fee, and the second span tag. Shipping fee here is free. Okay. And the third one is going to take our total cost. So I'm going to have two span tags as well. The first one is going to take total costs. And we're just going to have the same thing that we have here. So we need a dollar sign, and I'm going to paste this here. Okay. After this div tag, we're going to have the checkout button. And the text is going to be checkout. Okay, so this is our cart. Now we need our cart details. Okay, so let's head back here. So in our cart details right here, we're going to the structure as well. I'm going to pass item here as props, because right here we also have item here. Okay, going to the structure, remove from cards function. From our shop context, we need the increase amount and the decrease amount, so that I won't get spelling wrong. Let me just go and copy it. Okay, so decrease amounts. Okay, from shop context. So here, use context is shop context. Okay, that is done. Then we need to destructure the item. This item here, we need to destructure it. So here, cost, ID, title, image, price, and amount will be equals to item. Now, our UI. We need 4 div tags. So the first 4. The first div tag is going to be for the image, the title of the product, and then the icon to remove that particular, the specific product from cart. Okay, so in the first one, we're going to have the image. I'll come back to this now. Then we'll have another div tag for the title, H3 tag, and the icon to remove. So I'm going to have another div tag right here. Okay, so back to the image for the source. We're getting it from the image that will be structured. Sorry, we're getting it from the item that we have structured here. Okay, now for the H3, it's going to be the title of the product, and for the div tag, it's going to be to trash that specific product, to delete it. So we're going to use the trash icon. So we're using this trash icon. I'm going to close this. Now on the div tag, we're going to add an on click so that when the user clicks on the trash icon, they can remove that specific product from the cart. So we're going to call the remove icon function, the remove from cart function, and we're going to remove by the ID. Okay, and there'll be a text just in front of it. It's just going to say remove. Okay, now we're done with this div tag here. Now the second container is for the increment and decrement. So we're going to have two buttons. Two. Okay, so I'm going to separate them. The first button will be for the increment. So for the first button here, we'll use an on click function here, and we're going to call the decrease amount function that will be structured from our shop context. And we're decreasing the amount by the ID. So this button will be represented by an icon. So it's going to be this icon. Visit React icon to see more options of icons. So I'm going to use this icon. Okay, so this is the first. And for the second button will be to increase on click. We're going to call the increase amount function. And we're increasing quantity to be precise by ID as well. And the icon here is going to be, the button is going to be represented by this icon. Okay. So I'm using this icon as is here. So in between the two buttons to increase and decrease, we need the quantity, right, of the item. So I'll use a span tag here, and with the structured quantity as well. Okay, amounts. So here we're using amount. So we'll just come here, pass in amount. Okay. Now for the third div container is going to be for the actual price. So the price in dollars, price, that is very easy. And the last one is going to be for the price change in quantity. So here we're going to have, I'll open the curly braces. Come on. So I'll open the curly braces. I'll use a backtick, use dollar sign, space, another dollar sign. So we're going to convert it to a number just in case. So here we're going to have price multiplied by amount. So we'll just fix it to two significant figure or two decimal places. Okay, so this is the price times amount when you increase and decrease the quantity. Here you're going to get the real time price as you keep increasing and decreasing quantity. Now let's see our cart page. Okay, before we can see the cart page, let me show you. Now we have an item in the cart, right? If I click on this cart icon, it's not going to lead us to the cart page because we're yet to route it. Okay, so we're going to open our navbar, locate our carts. Let me close this. This is the cart right here. Okay, so with the cart and the quantity of item in the cart. I'm just going to copy. I'm going to highlight it. Then I'm going to cut it. Control X. So here I'm going to have the link tag. From React Router DOM. Okay. And in between the link tag, we're going to paste what we just cut. Control V. Okay. Now, for the link should lead us to our carts. So now that we've created the routing system for the link, to be precise, for our carts, we can now, whenever we click on the cart icon, it's going to lead us to the cart page. But I want you all to note this. Make sure that the link matches with what you have in your route. So let's head back to app.css. So as you can see, we have the same part here as our route. Okay. So now let's test this out. We're back here. Okay, there is a small change. So we're just going to adjust the right of this span. So here I'm just going to make it times the 7. Let's see. Okay, we have it here now. So now let me click on this cart page. As you can see, it's now leading us to our cart page. Okay, so you can see the shopping cart item right now is 0. This is the icon to clear the entire cart. Product display, your cart is currently empty. This is the cart summary and all of that. So press type and then add product to our cart. So I'll close this as well. Now let's start. I'm going to close this as well. So we'll start with the container. So we'll add a class name here. Display will be flex. Justify contents. Space between. So here, space between P will be 5. Now for the second one, for the right side, right, the width will be 2/3 of the screen. The background color will be white. Padding 5. Margin top 5. Now for the header, give it a class name as well. Display flex. Justify contents. Space between. The font will be bold. So bold. Now for the icon, I'm going to style that as well. Class name. The size will just be a little, and the cursor will be pointer. Now for the product description, display flex justify between. Margin top will be 5. Fonts bold. For this as well, margin top will be 5. Now for the cart summary, the width will be 1/3 of this. The background color will be gray. And then 5 rounded, margin top 5. For the text, class name, text will be large, font will be bold, margin bottom will be 5. Now display here will be flex. For these two, justify with the space between, class name. Display flex, justify between. So it's going to be the same for this. So I'm going to paste it here. It's going to be the same for this as well, and it's going to be the same for this as well. So right here, the margin top, the margin bottom here will be 5. Okay, but the total cost will be a bit different. So the fonts will be bold and the text will be large. Margin top 3. Now let's style the button. The width will be full. Background will be blue. And the text will be white. Rounded, that's for the border radius. Margin top will be 5. And when you hover on it, the background color will be deeper. Then our cut details. So for the cut details, display would reflect, justify, space between, items at the center, margin top will be 5, border, and we're going to have padding bottom with 3. Then here for the image, the title, and the trash icon, display will reflect as well. Items will also be at the center. Space. And for the image, the width will be 16, the height will be 16 as well. And for the H3, the font will be medium size. And then for the trash icon, so right here, text will be red and the text will be small. Cursor will be pointer. And for the trash itself, give it a class name. Margin right will be 1. Now for the bottom, so right here, display reflects. I want all the items at the center. For each of the button, so I'm going to have class name, the width will be 8, the height 8 as well. Background color will be gray or a light gray. So rounded, full, justify, center, items, center. So I'm going to copy this styling here. We're using the same styling for both icons. Okay. Now for the price, we're going to start with this as well. Text color will be gray. For the total cost as well, text will be gray as well. But the font size will be medium. Okay. So now this is what our cart looks like. Let's add item to the cart. Let me add this item, this item, this item, this item right here to the cart. We have 3 items in the cart. Let's add one more. I'm adding this. We have 4 items in our cart now. If I click on the cart icon, oh, come on. Okay, so let's try and see what the error is. Okay, so first off, let me see. Okay, we have our cart details here, but we're here to import it here. Okay, so we're going to import cart details right here. Also here, the spelling for the length, there's a typo error. So this is correct. Okay, and so let's test now. Let's see if I, so I'm going to add this to cart. Let me add another one to cart as well. It's reflecting here. Okay, now this is working. Okay, we have a little styling issue. Let's address that. So here I'm going to add display flex, this as well, flex, and then we need to style this amount that is at the center. But before styling, let's see what we have. I'm going to add another item to cart. Let me add about 3 items to cart. Okay, so we have to, okay, we need spacing here. So here mx will be 3. So the cart is empty. Let's add first one. We're adding another one. Add another one. So we have 4 items in the cart and we have the space that we need. So our add to cart is definitely working. It's reflecting on the nav bar. We are able to add carts on the page. Now let's test out. We can increase. So let's increase. Right now we have 3 items in our carts. Let's see if we can increase the amount. You can see that the price is updating and our total cost is updating as well. If I reduce this, our price is updating. We have 6 items in the cart. 4 of this particular item, one of this item, which gives us 6 items in total. And this is where we have our total costs. Okay, so as we increase and decrease, we can delete an item from carts. You can see if I click on this, it's going to clear the entire cart. So this is working perfectly well. The idea behind our carts is working well. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is to ensure that when we click on the logo here, we're going to replace this with your logo anyways. But we need to ensure that when you click on the logo here, it takes us back to the home page. So let's do that. So I'm going to close anything that has to do with carts. Bye. Now back to our number. Our logo is this H2, right? So just right here, I'm going to use the link tag from React Router DOM. So I'm using the link tag, and then I'm just going to cut this Ctrl X and paste this here. So this will link to / which is our home page. So let's test this out. Let's say we have added an item to cart, or we're just on the cart page basically, and we click on this logo here. It should lead us back to our home page. So this is working very simple, very easy. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do now is to work on the search bar integration. We already have the search input field here in our navigation bar, but we need to ensure that once you enter any name, we want to display products that matches with the name that we have entered in our search bar. I believe we all know how search works, so let's work on that now. So we're going to have our search functionality in our shop context. Let's go. So in shop context back here, let me close this. So first off, we're going to define a state variable for the filtered products. The idea behind search is to filter out products by their names, right? So we're going to have a state variable that's going to hold that filtered products, and a setter function set filtered products, and our use states will be our products data. Okay, now we're going to create a function to filter products based on the search query. Okay, so I'm going to name it search products. So const search products to be equal to pass query, create another function. Now we need to check if the query is empty. So if query is empty, oh no. If query is empty, if it's empty, we need to reset to show all the products. So here, set filtered products will display all products. Else, so if otherwise, we're going to filter product where the title includes the query. So const, I'm going to give the variable filtered be equals to product dot filter products. So we're going to check. I said that we're going to filter products where the title includes the query. Okay, so here products dot title to lowercase just for case sensitivity dot includes query dot to lowercase as well. Okay, then we would update the filter product state. So here set filter products, it's filtered. Okay, so what we did here is to create a function to filter product based on the search query, based on whatever our user enters in the inputs in our navigation bar. So we need this value as well. So I'm going to head back here and paste the value right here. Search products will be right here. Also, filtered products will be here. Okay, back to our navigation bar. We're going to destructure the search products. So I'm just going to add a comma, search products from our shop context. Then we're going to create a variable, a state variable to store the current search query. So here, const query and a set function to update it because use states empty. So we're going to initialize it with an empty string. Now we're going to create the function to undo changes in the search inputs. So const undo search will be equal to pass our event. So we set our query, we update the query. We'll update the query state with the input value. So set query will be e.target.value. So event.target.value. And search products as well. We're going to call the search function from our shop context with the query. So here as well, e.target.value. Okay. Now in our search input right here, let me press enter. In the search input, we're going to pass our value. The value is going to be the query, right? Because the query is what is holding the current, the query is what is holding whatever our user types in. Okay, so the value here is going to be query, and then we use an unchange. So when the user changes the text in, we'll call undo search. Okay, let's test this out. Okay, so right back here. Okay, let's search for shoes that have tennis shoes to be precise. So here I'm going to tennis. Let's see. Okay, so now nothing is working because we are displaying the entire product in our collection here. Okay, we need to ensure that there is a link between the products that we want to filter and our entire products. So right here, I'm just going to come into products, go back to shop context, this filter product right here. I'm going to copy it back to context. We're no longer going to use products. It's going to be filtered products. But our products, the entire product will still be displayed in our collection. So you can see our entire product is still being displayed. But if we filter from our search input, the products that matches with whatever we type in, we really want to be displayed. So if we search for tennis shoe, if I type in tennis, only two products will be displayed because this matches with tennis, this has tennis as well. Okay, so now our search integration is working. And if we delete the text in our search inputs, every other product, all the products in the collection will be displayed. Okay, so our search integration is working perfectly well. Now, the next thing we need to learn is how to display our product details when we click on an icon or the image. So in this case, we're using this icon. I'm going to close my product here. We're still going to come back to this, so there's no need to close it. Close shop context for now. Close the context. Now we need to work on our product details. But before that, we should be able to view our products when we click on this eye icon. Okay. So right here, I'm just going to cut this button out, Ctrl X. Then we're going to use the link tag from React Router DOM. Okay. And I'm going to paste what I just cut back, Ctrl V. Okay. Now we're going to link this to, or open the curly braces, colon, slash, products, slash, a dollar sign, and we'll have a curly braces. Oh, this is not going to be, this is going to be backtick. So slash, products, slash, dollar sign. We'll open another curly braces, and we're going to have products dot id. So let's test this out now. We have established a link. So if we click on this eye icon, it will lead you to the product details page. This is the fourth product here, you can see. Okay. If I click on this other product here, you can see this is the third product right here. The ID is 3. So let's get the content of the product details. So I'm going to close the products now, since we have established a link between the eye icon. So for our product details now, before starting with the UI, we need to destructure our add to cart function. So consts add to carts will be equals use context will be shop context. Okay. And then we also need to get our product data from our data file. So here, import products data from data file. Then we need use params to extract our parameter from our URL. So here we're going to import use params from React Router DOM. Okay. Now the next step is to get the product ID from our parameter. Consts ID will be equals use params. Okay, so what we're trying to do is each of these products have an ID. So we need to get the ID of this parameter here. Right here, this is a parameter. So we want to get the ID for the products that we're trying to view the details. So that's what we just did. So after getting the ID, after extracting it from the parameter, we need to get the detail of the product based on the ID as well. So const products will be equals to product data dot find. So we'll pass in products. Then we'll create our arrow function here to return products dot ID. Then we're going to convert the ID to an integer. So here, pass int ID. So the job of this code here is to locate a variable here, right? I want to find products that matches with the ID of the products that we have extracted the ID from our product data. Okay, so that's why we have product data dot find products, return products that matches with the ID. It's return product ID that matches with the ID of the product that we have extracted. Now let's design the UI. So I'll create a div tag. Then we'll create 2 div tags. So for the first one, we're going to have our image, and the second one is on the right. We're going to have the title of the product. So here we're going to have product.title. Then we'll have a p tag for the price, product.price. Then we're going to have another p tag So for this p tag, we're going to have the description. So here, products dot description. Okay. After that, we're going to have our button, and it's going to take the text add to cart. So for the image, we need to add the source as well. So here it's going to be products dot image. Okay. Now, if we view the product details, you can see we're getting the image, the title, the price, the description, and this is our button here. So let's start. So for this, the first div tag, class name, display will be flex, padding will be 20 for the image container, flex string 0, and we'll have a margin top. Okay, class name, flex string 0, we'll have a margin top of 20, and for the image, the width, take 460 pixels. Let me close this as well. Now for the details contents, class name, padding left will take 16, margin top will take 20. The title of the product, class name, the text will be 3XL, the font will be bold. For the price, text will be 2XL, text color will be red, the margin top will take 3, and for our description, text color will be gray, and the margin top will take 4. Now for the button, margin top will be 4, padding will be 14, padding on y-axis will be 4, the background color will be red, text color will be white, rounded, then if you hover on it, the background color will be deeper. So let us see, this is what we have now. Okay, this is looking good. Back to our home page, if we click on any product, we can view the product detail. And if we click on add to cart, okay, we've not worked on that. Okay, so for the button here, you need to ensure that once you click on add to cart, you're able to add that product to cart. So here on click, so we use an on click here, then we'll call our add to cart function. That will be structured right here. Okay, so we're adding our products and the ID to carts. So back here, if we click on add to cart, the product has been added to our carts and is working perfectly well. Now back to the home page. So the very last thing we're going to do is to wrap it up with our footer. Okay, so now for the footer section, I'm going to close this product detail. Then I'm going to open the footer. I'm going to mount the footer in our app.css so that it will display on all pages. So here, footer. Then I'm going to import footer from /component/footer. So let's work on the footer itself. So right here, we're going to have two div tags. So the first div tag is going to take the logo. The first one, we're going to have two other div tags as well. So the first one is going to be for the logo. So H2, logo will be here. And the second div tag, we're going to have our icons. So we're going to have Facebook icon. So here we have Facebook icon, The second one is going to be an Instagram icon. Okay, so there's a typo error. So this is supposed to be Instagram. So we're using the second icon. And the last one is going to be a Twitter icon, now known as X. Twitter. So we're using the second icon right here. Now, for this last one, it's going to be for our copyright. So here we're just going to have copyright logo here 2025, stuff like that. So let me just replace it like this. So this is year 2025. All rights reserved. Okay. So this is our footer. Now, if we head back here, we're going to see this footer right here. So we need to style it. So the first styling, first name, background color will be black, text color will be white, padding bottom will be 12. Okay, for this second one, class name, display will be flex, justify between, items will be at the center, px will be 8, py will be 6. Okay, there should be a space in between. Border will be B2, and the border here will be gray. Okay, there should be a space here as well. Let me close this. And then the text, okay, class name, text here with 2XL. The font will be bold. Okay, so for this, display will be flex, and there will be spacing on the X axis. Now for the icon, for each of them, the font size will be this, cursor will be pointer. Okay, so I'm going to copy this right here and paste it here and here. Okay, now for the copyright section, which is here, class name, text will be at center, py will be 4. Okay, let us see what we have now. Okay, this is looking simple and very cute. So if you watch till the end of this tutorial, I believe by now you have built a complete e-commerce website for a shoe shopping platform. So we have our search integration working, we have our cart here, we have all our products display, we can view our products, everything is working perfectly well. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your loved ones. Thank you.